Now, today we're going to talk about a topic of great importance to anyone who maintains a reef tank of any size, from a nano tank all the way up to a larger tank. And we're talking, of course, about worms. Why are worms important in the sand bed of your reef tank? Well, stop and think for a minute about everything you've ever learned about earthworms in the garden or in the farm, and it's well known, understood, and accepted by most informed individuals that earthworms provide tremendous benefits to the soil in which they live and also to the plants that depend on that soil for their nutrition. Earthworms consume organic matter as they move through the soil, and they process that matter into something that's usable by the roots of plants. They also provide an aeration function in that as they move through the soil in the garden, they loosen up the soil and make it easier for water and roots and everything to move through that soil. Well, that analogy applies directly to what these reef worms do in the natural environment and in the reef aquarium. We're looking at two types here. This is a bristleworm, one of the beneficial bristleworms. See how it's kind of long and it has these little bristles along the side. And the other is this spaghetti-like worm that has these long tentacles which they spread out over the substrate and they lasso their food particles. Now, on the subject of the actual naming of these worms, the taxonomy of invertebrates, especially lower invertebrates, is often in dispute, and you won't find taxonomists agreeing on what the names are. When you think about it, once taxonomists agree on what names are, they're facing unemployment. So there's always this flux, this debate, this to and fro, and that's one of the reasons we use trade names. We call these spaghetti-like worms Mamma Mia worms, and the bristleworms are bristleworms. That's widely known in the industry. And together we call them reef worms, and they are beneficial in your sand bed. They are detritivores. They consume organic matter. They move through the sand bed. The food they consume is converted into little worms and little worm larvae, and that's all a good thing. Helps increase the diversity in your tank. They don't overpopulate the tank because they're always eventually going to be limited by food and space. So they will increase their population numbers commensurate with the resources available in the tank. Now, sometimes customers say to us, okay, I want everything that you have listed there in the ReefWorms startup package except the bristleworms. And I hesitate to say this, but usually the people who say they don't want worms are the ladies, and for whatever reason that may be, they are anthropomorphizing, maybe have some sort of a genetically based fear that the worms could escape and end up on the table or in the bed or anything like that. I don't know, I'm just hypothesizing, but rest assured, relax, breathe easily. Ladies, the worms are in no way harmful. They are in every way beneficial, and please trust me when I say that these are good things to have in your reef tank, just as earthworms are good to have in your garden. Reef worms from Indo-Pacific Sea Farms, an excellent addition to your nano lagoon reef tank, or to any reef tank, or to any sump or refugium that has a sand bed.